Hello and welcome to Rain Francis Art. My name is Rain. Well, my friends, it's an art therapy day. Today I'm going to show you how to paint this very easy watercolor galaxy scene with watercolors and with white acrylic paint for the stars. Let's begin. This is what I'll be using for today's painting. I've got Strathmore watercolor paper. It's cold press at 140 pounds and it's 9 by 12 inches. I have it set up landscape here on my work surface. And I've taped it down with just some masking tape. And just a little tip for you, if you use any kind of masking tape or artist tape to tape down your canvas, don't use your fingers to push the tape down because you'll burn your fingers. Trust me. Use a towel, a paper towel, or a cloth to really push it down so that you get that seal. I tape down my paper for two reasons. First of all, I love the look of a frame around the watercolor, around any painting actually. I like a little frame around it. And also, it keeps my watercolor paper in place. This Strathmore paper is student quality paper. The good stuff I don't use for a lot of my tutorials. I use it for paintings that I'm going to try to sell or that I want to keep for a very long time. But for the purposes of studies and art therapy and things like that, I use my student quality paper. And the problem with that is that it buckles quite a bit. So I tape it down to make sure that it doesn't completely buckle while I'm doing my painting. As for paints, I'm using my pan paints, and I'm going to stick to a palette of blues, purple, pink, and maybe some reds. I love these pan paints. As for brushes, I am probably only going to use this one number 8 round brush. I think it's a number 8 or a number 10. It rubbed off over the years, so I don't know, I don't remember how large it is, but it's quite large, and it's a round tip. I also have my little number 4 round brush just in case, but I have a feeling I'm not going to use it. I've got my old toothbrush here that I'm going to be using because we're going to be using this to splatter some white acrylic paint to make it look like stars. This is just dollar store acrylic paint and it's white. It's the pourable kind. What else do I have here? I have some containers, like I'm going to put my white paint in here. I have a little spray bottle of water. I have my containers of water, some paper towel. I have my hair dryer handy to help me dry things in between layers. And I have my Bob Ross playing cards. Since this is an art therapy day, I thought I would bring out the Bob Ross playing cards and see what kind of words of wisdom Bob Ross has for us today. I absolutely love this man. I know I'm like a broken record whenever I talk about Bob Ross, but he left us way too soon. Okay, let's see what Bob Ross has to say. You really can learn to be creative as you paint. It's like anything else, it just takes a little practice. Ain't that the truth, my friends? Seriously. And I probably have told this story before, but I was basically told growing up that I didn't know how to draw and I would never be able to learn because I wasn't born with that talent. But about 6 years ago now, I decided to upset the critics and I started to learn how to draw on my own, and I think I'm a pretty good drawer now. I really am happy with the way that my art has developed over the years. So Bob Ross is right, it just takes a little practice and you can learn to paint and you can learn to draw and you can learn to do anything as long as you commit to practicing. So let's keep this in mind today as we paint our galaxy. All right. So what I'm going to do is, I don't suggest that you keep your paints over your canvas, but I'm going to do that so that you can see what I'm doing. I'm basically going to wet my brush, and I'm going to start off with some blues. I've got a nice little Prussian blue here, and I'm just going to put different colors in different areas. starting with the blue. Nothing fancy, really. I might just make sure that my corners are blue because I want the corners to be just a little darker. And my dog is up now. I have a little bit of yogurt next to me, and he's a hound dog. He's a scent hound, so he can definitely smell that yogurt. I usually give him a little bit, but I'll give him some after I finish the painting, or in between layers. How about that? I'm just cleaning off my brush, and I'm going to go into a nice little purpley pink color here. And like I said before, I'm just kind of randomly putting in colors, and I want them to sort of blend in together. So I want to keep my canvas wet. And I'm working kind of quickly because I don't want the blues to dry while I'm putting this nice little purple color on. I'm wetting my brush and cleaning it off, and I think I'm going to go into a red color here. And this is a cool red. It's not a warm red. A warm red would be more orangey, and this is more of a cool kind of red here. So it's going to blend very well with the purple and the blue. And this is going to dry quite light, but we are going to put on several layers. I've got a lot of water on my brush here. I'm going to wipe off my brush again, clean it up, and I'm going to go into another blue. Let's see. I want this blue here. It's probably closer to an ultramarine or a phthalo blue. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That very light blue there. There we go. Nice blue here. And you see everything's blending in well. We're just putting the base on right now. And like I said, we'll add some layers. I'm going to go into that blue next to it. I think that might be a more vibrant blue here. Yeah, that's a more vibrant blue. I like that. I'm purposely leaving a little white here and there, just a few spots of white. All right, let me get some of that nice dark blue into the corners here. Not dark blue. I think that must be the phthalo blue. I've lost the page that came with these paints that told me what color everything is. All right, I'm just wiping off. I always say wiping off. I'm cleaning off my brush. And I'm going to put my hair dryer on. Excuse me, to dry my layer. I just wanted to show you a little tip here. If you have puddles at the bottom or on the sides of your painting, take a dry brush, and by dry I just mean not soaking wet, and just soak up the puddles. That's going to help your painting to dry quicker. Because if you have large puddles of paint and water, it's going to take a long time to dry. Even here on my page, on my canvas, see? I have a lot of large puddles there. I would rather do more layers and have less large puddles on my canvas. Because like I said, this is a student quality paper. It buckles, and this particular paper doesn't really absorb the paint all that well when you put a lot of water on it. it just kind of sits in a puddle. So I've got all the puddles up, I think. And I'll continue. Let me just clean off my brush. And I will continue to dry it with the hair dryer. My first layer is dry, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put the same colors basically on my canvas, doing a second layer. Because I want it to be a lot darker. And I'm covering up some of the layers of that sort of purpley pink and the red. I'm going to put some blue over that too. Because all of these colors are quite transparent, right? So they will layer very well over each other, I think. And if there are areas, for example here, I'm going to just wipe a little bit of that blue off, because I want some of that pink and purple to show through. I'm just kind of winging it as I go today. Nothing really in mind. I used to do a lot of these paintings of galaxies and starry nights and things like that. Not the Starry Night, the Van Gogh painting. Did I do that one once? I'm trying to remember if I actually tried to paint that one once. I think I did. I have to take a look. You know, when you paint, you kind of accumulate a lot of paintings sometimes. I'm just taking a little bit of water and I'm softening it all up because I don't want to see any hard edges. I want everything to blend very well together. So I'm going to go into that little purpley pink color again. I'm going to do the same thing. Just adding layers. A little water here and then to blend everything together so that we don't have hard edges. And you can already see the difference between the colors, you know. And I sort of decided I'm not going to use any more of that red. I'm covering it with the purple. Now just a little bit of water to kind of blend everything in. And I'm going to go into that, what I think is the phthalo blue color. Just put in some phthalo blue color in between the purple and that Prussian blue, the darker blue that I had there. What I'm doing is I'm just tapping. I'm gently tapping the colors on. So Bob Ross was saying, you really can learn to be as creative, to be creative as you paint. It's like anything else. It just takes practice. Is there something in your life that you've always wanted to try doing, but you thought you couldn't do it, or you were told you couldn't do it? Listen to Bob Ross, he's very wise. If you want to do something, all it takes is practice. Now I'm going to do the same thing as I did before. I'm just going to soak up those puddles. Just so this doesn't take a long time to dry. Not too bad right now, though. I don't have any big puddles on my canvas. So I'm going to go ahead and dry that layer. My second layer is dry, and I'm going to start putting in a third layer, and I'm basically going to do the same thing that I did before. I'm going to be switching between what looks like a Prussian blue, a phthalo blue, and this sort of pinky purple color. So that's what I'm going to do. Make it nice and dark. So just like before, I'm going to put the colors in, put the paint on the canvas, and then take some water and make sure that everything is nicely blended together, because I want a nice dark sky so that my stars really stand out. Now for this painting, you could use blues and greens. I've done that before. That looks really, really nice. I would suggest a cold palette, cold colors, you know, no oranges and yellows and things like that. Although, just thinking of the Aurora Borealis, you could choose blues with some yellows and oranges. You just have to be careful when you're mixing things together, because blue and yellow turns into green. And sometimes when you mix the warm colors with the cold colors, this is just my own experience, it turns into kind of a brown, mushy, ugly color. So you have to kind of be careful there. I think this is going to be a really nice painting. I've had a rough couple of weeks, my friends. I don't know how you're doing out there. Since Christmas, I've had a bit of a stomach flu that doesn't seem to want to go away. I'm doing okay now, this is the second week of January now as I'm painting this, and I'm feeling better, but it took a heck of a long time to pass. I was on chicken noodle soup for 2 weeks, pretty much. And throughout that time, I had to go out to town 4 times. And that was rough, you know, when you're not feeling well and you have to drive. I live in a rural area, and going to town for me is a 1.5 hour drive each way commitment. So it's a long day. But I got through it, and I realized that I didn't put anything up on my channel last week for my painting. I didn't have anything ready. That's how sick I was. I'm usually pretty on the ball when it comes to channel content, but I was really not doing well. But things are going much better now. I've got a lot of great plans for the new year, a lot of great projects. I'm just cleaning off my brush. 2023 is going to be a fantastic year. Okay, so I'm going to let that dry, and then I'm going to apply my stars. Okay, my canvas is dry, so I'm going to take my toothbrush and I'm going to apply some of that white acrylic paint onto my canvas. Now I want to show you, before I get the toothbrush dirty, what I'm going to be doing is aiming the toothbrush on my canvas, and I'm going to be doing this. Okay? I can't show you that with the paint on it because it'll splash onto my camera. So basically what I've got is a little bit of my white acrylic paint that I bought at the dollar store, and I'm going to put a little bit of water in there. You may have to play around with it to see what consistency you need, because you want it to be liquidy but not too liquidy, because if it's too liquidy, you won't get solid colors. So I've got a little bit on my toothbrush and I'm tapping off the excess, and away I go. See how that works? I think that's really, really neat. Now I'm looking at this and I'm thinking I might need a little more water, because it is applying tiny little dots, but I might want some more dots, some larger dots that is. I'm just gonna clean off my finger here, get all that white paint off my finger so I don't get it on everything. I'm gonna put a little more water in there. Let's see how that goes. Always tap it off. And away we go. That's a little better. That's coming off easier. You see the little white dots, stars? Let's see if I can get some bigger ones. It doesn't look like I can get some bigger ones, but I'm going to show you a way that you can get some bigger ones. Let me just rinse off my fingers here. What you can do is you can take any brush. I've got my round brush here, it's a number 4. And I just have a little pencil, and I'm going to show you what I'm going to do here. I'm loading up the brush with that acrylic, tapping it off, and then I'm going to use my pencil to tap. See, this way I'm going to get larger dots. I'm going to load up my brush again, tap it off, and I'm making kind of a Milky Way there through the center. There. Now it is kind of messy. My hand is filled with paint here. So be careful when you're doing this. You don't want to get acrylic paint all over your studio, or if you have your computer nearby. One time I was doing it and it actually splashed up right here, and I got it all over my phone's camera lens. So it's messy, but it's fun, and you really get some nice results. So what I'm going to do, and it dries really quickly, by the way, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the masking tape off now and reveal the masterpiece. Now sometimes when you're using masking tape and you try to take your masking tape off before your canvas is dry, it can rip your paper. Sometimes it rips your paper anyway. I do have some artist tape that isn't as adhesive, so that I use on sort of my better paper, but like I said at the beginning, I'm using a student grade quality paper here because this is for fun and it's for art therapy, and I just want to enjoy myself. And to be frank, that expensive paper is expensive, so I use it sparingly. But look at how nice it is with the frame. Doesn't that look nice? I'm really, really super happy with how my little galaxy painting went today. I hope you're happy with yours too. And as Bob Ross says, you really can learn to be creative as you paint. It's like anything else, it just takes a little practice. So tell me, my friends, what are you going to do this year that you've not done in the past because you didn't think you could? I challenge you to do something that you wanted to do for so long, but you didn't have the confidence, or someone told you you couldn't do it, or for some reason you thought you couldn't do it. Well, trust me and trust Bob Ross. It just takes a little practice. Thank you so much for being here today, my friends. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like and subscribe, and don't forget to hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of my new posts. I'll see you next time on Rain Francis Art. Take care. Thanks again for watching. Bye.